Hey guys, if you're interested in my review, my demo, my real first impressions of this Kevyn Aucoin contour book volume 3, then keep on watching. Alright guys, so I'm super excited today to be doing this with you guys. Oh my goodness. This is my first ever Kevyn Aucoin product. For years now, I've been wanting to try Kevyn Aucoin's light contour powder and also a highlighter So a highlighter powder. So those are the two things I've always wanted to try, but I've never got around to it. So I thought, okay, this is the perfect chance because look, I want to show you what the inside looks like. So you get a huge mirror. It's a very nice size mirror with this palette. Look at this. You get so many powders in here, and this retails for only $59. This is an amazing, amazing deal, especially for the amount of products you get. So look at this. You get two highlighter powders right here. One looks more peachy, one looks more golden. Call this the Neo Bronzer in the shade Venice, but for me, I would use this as pretty much a blush, kind of swirl all the shades together. It'd be kind of hard to just get the shades on the other side for a bronzer. It's kind of easier to mix and use as a blush. And then you get the 3 sculpting powders here just from right off the bat. This is the one I wanted in light. I think this is nice for fair light skin, this one for kind of light medium skin, this one for deep skin, but I do think if you have skin that is really on the deeper side of a deep, I really think this won't work for you. They probably should have had a kind of 4th shade down here, but hopefully they'll expand their contour powders. But I'm just really excited to test all of these out. This looks kind of like the perfect item to have in your makeup kit if you're a working makeup artist, because the blush looks like it will suit a variety of people, as well as the sculpting powders for the most part, that is. And these highlights also look super pretty. So I think it's about time we played around with these now. Enough of the talking. Let's just see how this applies on the skin. So before I show you how these apply in the skin, maybe I'll show you some swatches first. So let's do some live swatches for you guys. So here is the light contour powder. This is kind of the perfect undertone, I think, for me because it has that more of a cooler gray undertone. So it really will mimic a shadow. So this is perfect, like I said, for fair or light skin. All right, so even the medium sculpting powder still has that cooler tinge to it, which I really appreciate. So this is also nice if you have kind of light to medium skin tones. This will kind of mimic a shadow kind of perfectly for your skin tones. And I think I can still pull this off if I use this with a light hand towards the back of my contour just to kind of add some more depth. So I'm going to test out at least 2 of these shadows. Sorry, not shadows, contour shades. So at the bottom is the deepest sculpting shade. I don't think if you have super deep skin, this will work as a contour. It'll probably be your skin tone. Okay, here is the peachy highlight. Looks really nice. I love it. It's in the shade Flash. Underneath it is the yellow gold shade in Beam. They both look really, really kind of pretty. And I'm really glad the glitters aren't so big. They look like kind of a nice, wet, lit from within type glow, at least from this hand swatch. Okay, up top is the kind of Neo Bronzer. I blended all 3 shades together, so you can kind of see the deeper bronziness at the top from one end of the spectrum, and then you see the kind of lighter, soft pink here. It's kind of blended all together. So it looks like a very nice kind of blush that a lot of people can pull off. All right, so let's get going with the sculpting powders first. So I'm just going to start off with this light shade, the shade I wanted initially to purchase as a single on its own. And let's use this as a contour. This is one dip. It looks very pigmented. I'm going to tap that off and let's see. Wow, guys, can you see that? That is like the perfect contour shade for me. Perfect. It is very cool toned, lots of gray in there. And be sure when you contour, you go right up into your hairline so that it blends. so that it doesn't just end right kind of in the middle of your cheek area. Now let's take the medium sculpting powder right here and apply it just towards the back part of my contour, just for some added depth. Tap off the excess. This way we can see how this medium shade works on my skin. I think I can still pull it off just towards the back part of my contour. You see that, right? So it really does kind of deepen it up nicely. It just deepens the shadow ever so slightly because I applied it only in this area right here, the medium sculpting shade. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side of my face with both shades. That is so pretty, guys. It's a very nice, natural contour. Really pretty. So you see there's that side, there's this side. Okay, so let's also kind of contour kind of under the chin area with the light sculpting powder, just to add a little bit more shadow right here. That is nice, guys. That is a very nice contour. So let's just put a little bit towards the top part of my forehead. So I have a big forehead. Oh, my baby hairs. Sorry, guys. It is hot in my room for some reason. That's why I'm sweating, so sorry about that. I think it's all the lights that are on me right now. Okay, let's get closer. I am seriously obsessed with these sculpting powders. I am not going to attempt to try out the deepest shade because it will be way too deep on me. But if you have between fair and light skin like me, the first two powders should work. And if you have super fair skin, the lightest powder will work. And for medium to light skin, the medium powder works well. I mean, I can still pull it off. So, and I'm between an NC15 and an NC20. So yeah, this sculpting powder, it's an A+. There's a reason why I think these Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powders are a cult favorite. I totally get the hype, and the hype is real. So yeah, this will probably be tied with my Fiona Styles light sculpting contour palette. So these two, amazing. All right, let's try out this gorgeous Neo bronzer in Venice. I actually live pretty close to Venice, as in Venice, California, not Venice, Italy. I lived in Santa Monica for a year. I loved it, a block from the beach, so it was an amazing time in my life, and I loved it. I did not take it for granted. So yeah, so this makes me just think of Venice Beach. But anyway, let me just take my blush brush and just kind of mix everything together. So you see it's a little powdery. So let's tap off the excess. It's a little powdery as you saw. The same thing happened with the bronzer. Sorry I didn't show you that, but it applied perfectly. Just always remember to tap off the excess so that you don't apply too much product. Okay, so let's see. Oh wow, look at that. It gives you kind of the most perfect girly pink flush. It actually goes really well with this eye look. It's very easy to build up. I love it. I love it. I was afraid it might be a little bit too kind of pigmented, too harsh, but as long as you tap off the excess, it kind of layers on very nicely and looks more like a soft, luminous blush with a slight sheen, but it doesn't emphasize pores. There's no glitter particles. It's just kind of a healthy kind of pink glow. So as you can see, it's distinctly pink. It's gorgeous, but it is a pink blush. It is not a neo bronzer. Yeah, you could just kind of go in with a super tiny brush only in this area, but it's going to be very hard just to get the kind of browns in there. You will be getting some of those pinks in there. So I would just say swirl your brush in there, mix everything together, and then apply it as a blush. And I think this will kind of work well on all skin tones. You can always just build up the blush. So now I'm going to go in just at the end with the lightest pink. Of course, some of the medium pink gets in there too. It's okay. Tap off the excess. And I'm just going to apply this a little bit towards the inner portions of my cheek a little bit, just so it's kind of like a ombre sort of blush effect. Really pretty, super youthful looking. I think a really pretty blush too if you want a more cool toned pinky bridal look, a bridal blush. So this peachy highlight, initially, before I purchased this palette, when I just saw photos, I thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be too deep on me. But like you saw, after swatching the back of my hand, it does look very similar to Champagne Pop in tone and shade. So I think I'm going to be able to pull this off. So let's see how this looks first on my cheekbones. So this highlight is just as powdery as the Neo bronzer, that blush, you know, and these sculpting powders. So, but I'm hoping it's just going to look gorgeous on the skin, tapping off the excess. Get a little closer, scooch a little closer. Okay, I can see it. It's very subtle, lit from within glow. Let me put on one more layer. Okay, now I can see it even more. It's actually a pretty natural kind of glowy, lit from within highlight. It's not the sort of like Instagram highlight. This is the highlight that I would wear kind of every day and feel just kind of pretty and youthful and glowy. It's really pretty, but it doesn't highlight as much as I want it to highlight, at least on my skin tone. I think this shade would look gorgeous on medium or deep skin tone. On my skin tone, it's still a highlight, but it is very close to my skin tone. So let's do the same thing to the other side, just for the sake of all things being equal. So as you can see, it's kind of a nice, natural, glowy, peachy highlight. But on my skin tone, it's very, very subtle. But I do like how it just kind of melts in the skin. It doesn't emphasize my pores. It just looks like a glow. It just looks like a glow, a lit from within sort of highlight. Which is actually what I prefer, to be honest. So now let's take Beam, this sort of light gold highlight. This looks like it'll actually be a true highlight on my skin tone. So let's go over that peachy shade with this Beam highlight. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted a real highlight. This is really pretty. See that, guys? That is a highlight now. Look at that, guys. Sorry about, so I'm mixing my studio lights with my outdoor lights, but my natural light, it's a little bit overcast. So I'm trying to get the best kind of, I just really want to show you what it looks like kind of true to life. So that's kind of what the highlight looks like. It's a lot lighter than the peachy shade on me, yet it is still a tad deep, So I am going to put my Beauty blender on top of this, just trying to blend it in more and make it look kind of more seamless. So I do think with these two highlights in this Contour Volume 3 palette, they won't work if you have fair skin, because I'm between fair and light, so I can kind of barely pull these off, but I really have to kind of blend them into my skin or go in with a lighter hand. But once I do, it is a highlight. It still looks really pretty, very glowy, but I do think this palette in general is perfect if you have light or medium skin. But because I'm kind of between fair and light, you know, I can barely pull off the highlights, but they still highlight, but I just have to be cognizant of putting too much on. And then you have to kind of fix the mistakes a bit so that it does look like a true highlight and it does look seamless and it does look super glowy instead of super obvious that there's kind of highlight. So yeah, again, here's the highlight. Still really pretty once I blended it in with my trusty Beauty blender. I love you, Beauty blender. Never leave me. All right, guys, so final thoughts. Am I happy I purchased this Contour Book Volume 3 palette from Kevyn Aucoin? Yes, I am, and let me tell you why. These two contour shades alone, plus this blush, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this blush. I'm not a very kind of cool tone blush lover, but this blush makes me love cooler toned pinks now, and that's saying something for me. So this is kind of going to be one of my new favorite cooler toned pink blushes. It imparts a sort of luminous, healthy sheen without having glitter flakes in there, or glitter particles, excuse me. It's just a really nice, glowy, especially for bridal looks blush, or, you know, daytime dates, you know, come on. And these two sculpting powders, like I mentioned a second ago, I love. This one, of course, is too deep for my skin tone, but I can totally use this as a crease shade in my crease or underneath in my lower lash lines, blend it in. Like I said, I love using a kind of deeper shade in my lower lashes just for my eye shape. It just suits me really well. So this is a nice kind of shade I know that I would get use out of. These two are okay. The highlights are a tad, okay, this one kind of blends into my skin. It doesn't highlight as much as I would. This highlights, but there is a bit too much yellow in there. So it's kind of a little bit more obvious, at least on my skin tone, the amount of yellow that's in there. If there was a little bit more white in there, mixed in there, I could pull it off, no problem. Like when I went in with the first layer, it was amazing. But with the second layer, it kind of pulled a little bit too yellow on me. But will I use these? Of course I will. But I'll probably pair these with, let's say, Becca's Moonstone or something with a lighter sort of highlight. They are really nice, and I think they'd look really pretty kind of as an all-over shimmer on the eyelid or just on the center of the eyelid, just for some dimension. But yeah, I'm super excited I purchased this. 59 bucks is a steal for all these products you can try out, and they give you a decent amount of product too. So I'm just really happy. I would recommend this, especially for medium skin tones or light skin tones. For me, I'm between fair and light, but I still love it. I just have to kind of know how to use these highlighters, know how to mix these highlighters with a different highlighter, and use this kind of in my eye area. But guys, you have no idea how much this review makes me really want to try out that light Kevyn Aucoin highlighter that I've been wanting to try out. It's significantly lighter than these two shades that are in here, so I'm totally going to try that out because the formulation is really nice. It's a nice kind of more everyday kind of highlight, a glowy, lit from within highlight. It's not a super blinding highlight. It's not a kind of Instagram highlight. So if you're someone who wants those types of highlights, you won't like Kevyn Aucoin's highlights, assuming his other highlighters are like the formula in this palette. But I like it just for everyday types of looks. And yeah, it just makes me really want to try out that light. I think it's called Celestial. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, but I think the Kevyn Aucoin highlight shade I really want to try out is called Celestial. So yeah, I hope this short, quick review, demo / first impressions was helpful for you guys. Please like and subscribe. I hope everything is going amazingly well for you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.